Welcome to Economics with Austin, Izzy, and Andrew. Today we're going to be talking about the production possibilities curve and elasticity.
The product possibility curve is a graphical representation of alternative combinations of goods and services in the economy.
It illustrates the maximum amount an economy can produce with current resources. If you produce more of one good, you have to shift resources away from the production of the other good. This is clearly shown in the graph. The PPC also shows opportunity cost, which is a useful tool for economists and business owners. An opportunity cost is what you give up when you make a choice. An example of this is giving up doing homework and sacrificing your grade to go out with a Czech woman. Your grade suffers, but you probably had a great night. The opportunity cost of an activity increases as you perform more of that activity. You give up more and more as you consume more of one good. This demonstrates the law of increasing opportunity cost. For this reason, the opportunity cost will not be uniform along the curve. This is due to the law of increasing opportunity cost.
There are various factors that can shift the PPC. Essentially, there are four things that can cause a shift. Advances in technology will shift it rightward, changes in resources, more education or training, human capital, or changes in the labor force. Improvement in technology can increase the production capacity, which will obviously lead to a rightward shift of the production possibilities curve. Another thing that can shift the production possibilities curve is an increase in resources. For example, if there's a new discovery of oil or a new forest somehow is discovered, you're going to have more resources and you'll be able to produce more. When you educate your labor force, your people are going to be much more productive, which will also allow you to increase output. And when there's, say, a baby boom and you have a change in the labor force where the labor force is increasing, you're also going to be able to produce more. As a side note, bias technologies also exist. These are technologies that only impact the production of one good. For example, a biotech company could come out with a new radish serum, so they can increase their production of radishes, but at the same time, they don't have to decrease the amount of carrots they're turning out.
The PPC is bowed out when two goods share resources. For example, carrots and potatoes share land and water, etc., so they could have a curved PPC. This happens because of the law of increasing opportunity cost, which occurs when two goods share factors of production. The line is straight when products don't share resources at all. An example of this would be wood tables and iron fencing. It doesn't bow because the opportunity costs are constant for these goods. They do not share factors of production.
Efficiency on the product possibility curve is maximizing the use of resources.
You are efficient when you produce directly on the production possibilities curve. There are two ways to be inefficient on the PPC. The first way is to be inefficient by producing below the curve. This means you aren't maximizing all of your resources and you could produce more goods. The second way you can be inefficient is to produce above the curve, which is impossible because you do not have the resources that will allow you to do this. Thanks for listening to us chat about the production possibilities curve. Next, we're going to talk about elasticity.
First, we're going to talk about elasticity of demand, which is the measure of responsiveness of a good found by analyzing the quantity demanded of a good or service to a change in price, ceteris paribus. It is useful for a company to analyze this in order to determine how a change in price will affect revenue.
We all know as the price of a good increases, generally demand for that good decreases.
When a small change in price results in a large change in the quantity demanded, that good is known to be elastic. In other words, price doubles and demand falls by more than double. This applies to items such as trendy clothes and sports cars. These items are also known as luxuries. When the opposite occurs, a large change in price results in relatively little change in quantity demanded. And price of the good doubles and quantity demanded falls by less than half. The good is said to be inelastic. Inelastic goods include items that have many substitutes. A great example of this is salt. Consumers purchase this good infrequently, and there are essentially no substitutes. So if salt companies all raise their prices by 2%, the demand would fall by less than 2%. These types of goods are known as necessities.
Perfectly elastic goods exist when the price rises by even the tiniest amount and demand drops immediately to zero. This indicates that the firm who is selling the good is a price taker in a competitive market. So if they sell their good anywhere above the market's price, no one is going to buy their good. Everyone's just going to go buy the cheaper good. An example of this is gas. Even though gas is relatively inelastic because people always need gas, it becomes elastic when, say, Shell ups their gas price to $2.30 when everyone else's gas sells for only $2. When a good is perfectly inelastic, the firm sets the price no matter how high the price is, and demand will remain the same. There can be no substitute for an item that is perfectly inelastic. Unit elastic items are those that when the price doubles, the quantity demanded falls by exactly half. The slope of this graph is equal to 1. To calculate the price elasticity of demand, we take the percent change in the quantity demanded and divide it by the percent change in price. If this value is greater than 1, and we use absolute value, by the way, the good is said to be elastic. If the value is less than 1 and between 0, the good is inelastic. The price elasticity demand of a good is not necessarily the slope of its demand curve. Elasticity along a straight line of the demand curve varies from 0 at the quantity axis to infinity at the price axis. Below the midpoint of a straight line demand curve, elasticity is less than 1, and the firm wants to raise the price to increase total revenue. Above the midpoint, elasticity is greater than 1, and the firm wants to lower its price to increase total revenue. At the midpoint, elasticity is equal to 1, or unit elastic. When the company has an elastic price elasticity of demand, raising the price of the good actually causes a decrease in revenue. It is important to note this.
Next, we're going to talk about price elasticity of supply, which measures the responsiveness of quantity supplied to a change in price. Factors that affect price elasticity of supply are resource inputs readily available? Are factors mobile? Are workers ready to move to where they are needed? Can finished products be easily stored? And are there existing stocks? Is production running at full capacity? And how long and complex is a production cycle or production process?
High PES is more desirable because it makes the firm more competitive in the market. Essentially works the same as PED. Elastic can be defined as greater than 1 when percent change in quantity demanded, percent change in price doubles, supply of the item more than doubles. For example, software is elastic because it costs very little to make and distribute. Inelastic is less than 1 if price doubles and supply of that item less than doubles. For example, concert tickets. There are a set number of seats. Ticket prices won't really increase with demand beyond their starting price.
When the PES is perfectly elastic, that means supply is infinite at any one price. When the PES is perfectly inelastic, only one quantity can be supplied. Unit elasticity of the PES, it would be a linear supply curve, and the slope would be 1. Next, we will discuss the cross-price elasticity of demand, which measures the responsiveness of the quantity demanded for a good to a change in the price of another good, ceteris paribus. A question we might ask when we're trying to look at the cross-price elasticity would be, when we examine the price of CD players decreasing, what would happen to the quantity demanded of CDs? The equation for cross-price elasticity of demand is a little different from the previous two. The cross-price elasticity of demand is equal to the percent change in the quantity demanded of the good we are looking at divided by the percent change in the price of the related good. When we get a cross-price elasticity of demand, or we'll shorten it to just E in this case, is greater than 0, these are goods that are substitutes and can be used in exchange for one another. For example, if the price of Pepsi were to increase, the demand for Coca-Cola would increase because people generally see these two as substitutes for one another. So Pepsi increases in price, people aren't going to buy Pepsi, so they're going to buy more Coke. Complements occur when E is less than 0, and complements are goods that people tend to consume hand in hand. So if the price of hamburger meat increases, the demand for American cheese will decrease because hamburger meat increases, people are not going to buy as much American cheese to go on their hamburgers. Independent goods are when E equals 0. So these goods have absolutely no relationship. So two independent goods might be Halloween candy and kitchen cabinets. Thank you for listening. Bye.